Hello everyone, and welcome to the season finale of my second season of What If. This video features a little bonus scene from each of the 10 episodes of Season 2. We'll start off with episodes 1 and 2, What If the fake Dragonets of Destiny were the real Dragonets of Destiny? After Sunny and Keebly find Viper and Flame, they take them to Thorn, who introduces herself and outlines her plan to take the throne. They bring the rest of the Dragonets back and begin to enact that plan. Thorn sends RainWings into each of the three princesses' armies, spreading rumors about the RainWings and the prophecy. This continues for a few months as Clay and a newly queened Glory, along with their scattered allies, including Asha, Kinkajou, Grandeur, Mangrove, and others, gather information on the RainWings. Once the time has come, as per their agreement, Thorn and her outlaws come with the RainWings to help save the RainWing prisoners. The RainWings volcano erupts, and the RainWings are offered sanctuary in the Rain Kingdom under Glory's watchful eye. After this, to fulfill her end of the deal, Glory and several of her best RainWings help Thorn to call a summit. Disguising themselves as key officials, they manage to call all the queens to one place, where the Dragonets and Thorn reveal all, especially the RainWings' treachery. The three Sandwing sisters aren't present at the meeting, but the other queens, all desperate to end the war, agree to recognize Thorn as queen. Byrne is ousted from the Sandwing Palace, and Thorn takes her place there, discovering Queen Scarlet, who'd been kept prisoner there since the Dragonets first appeared. Scarlet, along with Byrne and Blister, is forced to go into hiding. Blaze manages to secure herself a place in the Sandwing court, though she doesn't want the throne itself. The Dragonets of Destiny end up going to the Rainforest and joining Glory there, looking for some peace and calm after all the trouble they've gone through for a false prophecy. Episode 3. What if Sunny was an Animus? Sunny never casts another spell, just like she thought. Her magic cracked under the weight of her spell, and unbeknownst to her, she ended the same way her own father had. Although she wasn't encased in stone, she became a living statue, unable to move or work any more enchantments. Sunny just watched, endlessly, knowing that she had finally ended her friend's unhappiness. Forever. Outside her bubble of paradise, well, even if things weren't perfect out there, everyone thought they were. That was enough. It would have to be. Several years later, when a certain Silkwing gets blown across the ocean to find herself on foreign shores, she finds a very different continent than the one she was expecting. Episode 4. What if Clay grew up with the Mudwings? After rescuing the RainWings, Glory takes the throne and starts to shift her tribe into wakefulness, with Deathbringer and Kinkajou at her side. Meanwhile, Clay and Glory work with Thorn, fine-tuning the plan to expose the RainWings and end the Sandwing Civil War. Eventually, when the Dragonets of Destiny turn back up, everything is put into motion. Thorn takes the throne, leaving Glory with a strong Sandwing-RainWing alliance, and the two of them turn to the task of deciding what to do with the RainWings, who need a new place to live, despite everything. Taking counsel from Deathbringer, Glory ends up allowing them into a small portion of the rainforest, near the mountains, as long as they accept her as queen. She works to keep them in line and to undo their machinations while the rest of the continent recovers from the Sandwing War of Succession. Episode 5. What if the RainWings took over the rainforest? Glory and Deathbringer talk over all the information he has to share. Deathbringer is sick of the RainWings and how they've treated him, and he's selling out for the other side. Together, the two of them track down many of the other remaining RainWings, and using the Skyfire Deathbringer found, they attack the rainforest and win back the RainWings' ancestral home. Glory and Deathbringer fall in love along the way, and they rule the RainWings together with the RainWings once the fighting is done. Many of the more powerful RainWings fled the rainforest, but some stayed and agreed to live under RainWing power. It takes a long time for all the scattered RainWings, few as they are, to return, and even longer to begin picking up the scattered pieces of their kingdom, but it does eventually happen, and Glory leaves the throne to her and Deathbringer's daughter years later. Episode 6. What if Tsunami grew up in the Sea Kingdom? Tsunami quickly grows bored of her mother's tendency to hover. She's used to a very high level of freedom after all, and Coral is a helicopter parent to the max. They fight over this at first, but eventually manage to settle on a compromise. Tsunami joins their army, training to be a soldier. However, after losing Gil, Coral can't stand the thought of her family on the front lines again, so she assigns Riptide to lead a small group of scouts and sends Tsunami with them. This occupies her daughter for a while, with plenty of new experiences and adventures for her. However, Tsunami eventually finds from one of her squad mates that her father is being held captive by the Skywings. She convinces Riptide to take her and her squad there, and they manage to infiltrate the Sky Palace and free the Sea Wing prisoners, including Gil, in what would come to be remembered as the most embarrassing loss for Scarlet in the entire war. Coral was furious with her daughter at first, but with her mate returned to her, she couldn't stay mad forever, and their family began to heal with time. Episode 7. What if Sky and Peril switched places? After their first meeting, Sky and Peril quickly grow to become friends. Although they never know for certain how they're related, the two of them feel strongly that they are, somehow, connected, thanks to their similar features and identical eyes. Sky visits Peril and Ren with some regularity, and is delighted to finally know someone who likes him and doesn't mistreat him. Meanwhile, Ren and Peril are more than happy to adopt a third into their family, and Sky lends an attitude of wise counsel, perhaps, that helps steer them away from their more outlandish ideas. Eventually, Sky realizes there's no reason to stay in the city at all when there's a loving family waiting for him down in the mountains, and he leaves once he makes this realization. Sky stays with Ren and Peril from then on, and the three of them basically get a little happily ever after. They have each other and plenty of room to explore, and nobody to hurt them or cause trouble or try to rudely eat Ren. Episode 8. What if Moon grew up with the RainWings? Grandier, Moon, and their entourage make their way into the Night Kingdom and demand an audience, making sure to show their teeth along the way. The Nightwings, taken off guard and more than a little frightened at the sight of several RainWings unafraid to use their venom on them, agree and take them before the Queen. While there, as the Queens are negotiating, Moon realizes that Queen Battlewinter isn't working for the good of the tribe, only for her own good, and before she can think to stop herself, she blurts this out, revealing the fact that unlike everyone else, she actually can read minds. In the following confusion, Moon accidentally, and then very intentionally, reveals the true motives of several high-ranking Nightwings, leaving their chain of command very much in shambles. Grandier decides to leave them to sort themselves out, but she leaves them with a warning to stay out of the rainforest, at least until such time as she felt like offering a treaty, because the RainWings were on their guard now. Episode 9. What if Winter was captured instead of Hailstorm? After freeing Winter, the two brothers stay in the city a while, since the rest of the Jade Winglet is there with Kinkajou at the healers. Hailstorm stays faithfully by Winter's side as his brother works through the mental confusion of what had been done to him, and the heartbreak of learning his own family had given him up for dead without so much as a twitch of their tails. By this time, Hailstorm wasn't really interested in returning to the Ice Kingdom, or rather, he had no interest in returning to the palace. But he did miss home, the cold winds and the clean snow and the crisp nights. Winter, too, needed to be home, Hailstorm thought, so he could heal and recuperate after so long in such a harsh prison. So after a while, they left the city. Hailstorm didn't tell anyone where they were going, anyone other than Lynx. He and Winter were done with the Icewing Royals, done with the rankings and the circles and the rules and the lies. They flew north for the first time in years, crossing over the Great Ice Wall and finding a secluded bay on the shoreline where they could live in peace together. Lynx visits on occasion, but other than that, the two of them have plenty of times to themselves, to enjoy each other's company at last. Episode 10. What if the Leafwings and Silkwings switched places? After escaping the tree hive, the 5 dragons fly inland, soon joined by several other Silkwings and a few Leafwings as well. Cricket is worried and anxious at first, but they seem to be a rescue party, not an assassination squad, so her fear for Sundew soon calms. They put plenty of distance between themselves and the smoking tree hive, before stopping and giving Sundew and Cricket a pale concoction to drink. It tasted vile, but they insisted, claiming it was a cure for something, a plant, which the Queen was using to control their minds? Cricket tried to explain that she wasn't affected, but was overruled, so she drank the cure anyways. Sundew herself, beyond exhausted, ends up being carried during the later half of their escape, but when she wakes up a few days later, she admits that she recognizes Cricket from her visits. At least some of Cricket's reading and talk had gotten through, and Sundew had been grateful for that small kindness. This is enough to convince the group of Silkwing rebels, as well as the Leafwing Hazel, to let her stay long enough to prove herself. And that'll conclude this episode of Little Bonus Scenes. Thank you guys so much for your kind comments on all of my what-ifs this year. They're always so much fun to read over. It's nice to know y'all enjoy these videos so much, and I hope to make more in the near future. Which what-if this season was your favorite, and what would you like to see in Season 3? Comment below to let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting me, and please have a blessed week.